more, just put some freshness into them. Because the thing that has happened within churches for the last, I don't know, however many years, is that we all get given these chord sheets. Everyone know what I'm talking about? We get given chord sheets that say, play a G over the word how. Great is our God. Sing with me how. And then E minor over great is our God. And all will see how C, great. How D, great is our God, G. And that's the way that it's kind of gone. But there's a nice thing about that because it's accessible for people. Whatever standard you're at, you know how to make some kind of G. If you have a very basic keyboard player that you're like, I want them on stage no matter what, and they know how to push a note, so they'll play. They could do this. And they could play along. So I mean, there is an aspect to it which is very inclusive, which is nice. However, we come across the problem that sometimes you put a chord sheet in front of a band and it's like, okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And here's what happens if none of us think about it at all. None of us are thinking about it. I've just switched my keyboard on to normal piano sound. You want to click us in? How great is our God? The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. Trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. Thank you, band. There we go. So that is us. If we just said, how great is our God? We're going to go through it. I mean, that sounded all right, actually. I was quite happy with that. But we put absolutely no thought into it. We didn't practice that. We just went through it. So the question is, how far can we take this? Really far. I heard really far. That's good. We can take this a long way. And now I want to address briefly, why would we want to take it any further than it is already? Because there's an argument that says this is worship, this is a free heart expression, it's not systematic, it has to be fresh, it has to be lively. Yeah? Well, whilst those things are true, it's also true that the music, it opens up our emotions and it really helps us connect with him, doesn't it? Yeah. It sure does me, and I think it does a lot of people. So when we're playing our music, the better we play our music, hopefully, the easier it is for people just to be open vessels to connect with God, yeah? And we want to create an environment, as musicians and as worshippers, we want to create an environment which is easy for people to just to enter into worship. So, that's why we want to work on our musical arrangements, right? Yeah. Right. Beautiful. So, first things first. You got to look at what you got in your band. So if Ben was by himself on an acoustic guitar leading you in some worship, he's got a few options. Now, what are the options musically? I want you to shout back at me. What are the options musically he has to change a piece of music? Shout out a few things. Strumming. Okay, strumming versus picking. Good. Ben, do you want to just demonstrate strumming versus picking? Sorry? Volume. Now, we already had a great example of that because the strumming was quite loud before. It wasn't yet. So we've got varying intensities of sound. Beautiful. Anything else? Rhythm. Good. So I'll try a couple of them. Sweet. Good. Anything else? High and low?
Oh, where I play it?
Yeah, where he plays it. Okay. Good. Anything else? Singing a cappella. Okay, good. So already within just Ben playing, he's got a ton of options. How many of us, I'm going to stick my hand up first, have been guilty of not thinking at all about the music when we could have, and just going all the way through a set, strumming at the same volume and the same consistency? Good. We have some honest people. How many of you didn't put up your hands because you don't play guitar? You lead from the keys. Good. That's the rest of you. Done. So we're all guilty of this. So, Ben, I want you just to give a little example. How great is our God? 3 different ways. 3, not the whole song, but how about the chorus? 3 different styles. Maybe one strumming normally, one picking, and one a cappella.
Okay.
Let's do this with him.
Okay. So, here would be normal. How great is our God. Oh, sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God.
Beautiful. Now he's going to pick it when we're singing.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God.
Wonderful. Did that give you a different sense? Yeah. The picking gives far more space. It feels more intimate. It feels like there's more room to think about the words you're singing. I find when I'm strumming, really going for it, it carries like an emotional response to God, right? And it's like, how great is our God? And I'm singing, and it's a bubbling up kind of thing, right? And when it's the intimate thing, how great is our God, is a much, I don't know, it feels to me more tender, and it also feels like I have space to think about the words I'm singing. Anyone resonate with that? Yeah. So if you think of that beforehand and think, do you know what? I might throw in a verse with some picking in. You've automatically decided in your musical arrangement to give space for people to connect with God in a different way. Which on the one hand, you're like, oh, I just did some picking. But thinking about it a bit deeper, you've actually, you've created a different atmosphere of worship. Profound. All right? Now let's try a cappella. So he comes out of a bridge, and then we're all going to sing it just by ourselves without the guitar.
And my heart will sing, how great is our God.
And all together.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God.
Amazing. What did you hear then as you were singing that verse? You heard everyone else. And I think that is the most beautiful thing about a cappella is you realize all of a sudden there's been all this music washing over you, then all of a sudden you realize I am part of a huge body. And I think that's really cool. And that's an amazing effect. And that helps, I don't know, it helps stir people. It's a very encouraging sound. Any thoughts on that, Ben? No? Okay, cool. Great, so that's one man and his guitar. Moving it a bit forward. Ben now has me on the keyboard. We've got 2 people. The piano is the first thing that a keyboard turns on as, which is nice. But right off, I want to say this. If Ben is playing his chords like where he is, and I start playing the chords, right there, I didn't think about it at all. I just dropped my hands to the nearest octave and went for it. But you'll notice that the sound range, I don't want to get too technical, my sound range, where was it compared to his sound range? Same. I dropped exactly in the same place. So I took what could be two magical instruments complementing each other, and what did I do? I made one muddier sounding instrument. So Ben's going to play again, and I'm going to try and play not only in a different frequency range, so different pitch, but I'm also going to try and play when he's playing less. Okay? So we're going to try and do it back and forth. Let's go for it again. Did anyone prefer that? Yeah. It brought something else out, didn't it? It did. It did. For all of you that haven't decided, I'll tell you right now, I did. But now I want to tell you another thing. I'm just throwing out these things. I hope they make sense in an order. When you have a keyboard in front of you, when you have a piano, you play piano. When you have a keyboard in front of you, you have a lot of different things. Okay? Here's an example. Who's done this before?
The woof was my favourite.
Yeah, I like the woof as well.
Yeah.
Good. Don't ever just do that in a worship service. That'll distract people entirely. All right, so I've got my piano, but I've also got an electric piano. Was anyone alive when electric pianos first came out? I've also got organ sounds. Now let's see if this makes any difference in the sound. You heard the piano. I'm going to play it through with the organ. I'm going to play this organ, actually. Okay. Was that different? What did that do? Okay, it was awesome. Give me some description apart from emotional responses. More like a hymn. Okay. Right, I added some interest to it. That's what I did. We also have pads. Softer than organs. One more time, just with me and Ben. Ben finishes, and I might hang on to this. I might. And do you know what? And he's finished, and an MC can walk up, and they can start doing a prayer, and they're praying. But do you know what? The music hasn't quite stopped. It's not obtrusive. It's not intrusive at all. I can speak over this, and you're hearing exactly what I'm saying. Whereas if I was playing guitar, you'd be like, "Oh, what am I listening to?" This isn't an intrusive sound, and yet you've still carried on that beautiful sense of music, openness. And if you had your eyes closed, you'd still be connecting emotionally, right? Yeah. It's my Holy Spirit pad. So we have different options. So look within your instruments and see, what can I do that's different? What can I do that complements different things? Okay. Now let's imagine we have a bass and drums kicking in. Oh, yeah. So Ben is the band leader. What would you do, Ben? You've got a 4-piece band.
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to think about where do we want to climax and where do we want to be more reflective. And if we're thinking about this song, you know, I often think about it in percentages. So I would say when we get to the name above all names bit, I'm like, yeah, that's where you want to reach your like 90, 100% of intensity. How great is our God maybe at 60%, and the verses maybe at like 20%. So I immediately know that I want to have the verses a bit more empty, a bit more sparse. So that means perhaps, you know, the drummer's playing a very simple beat and the bass player's kind of playing root notes. And what are you going to do?
What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll do then, since he wants those things, as a keyboard player, I would say, all right, he wants more intensity in the chorus, less intensity in the verse. So maybe I'll just play one of those lovely pads in the verse, and as soon as it comes in with the chorus, I'll add in the piano to it. Sound good? Right, let's try it. So we just blasted through it last time. Now we're going to try some more dynamic contrast. So
20%, 60%. Yeah? Got it. So, click us in. Let's go. Into the verse. You can sing along. I don't want you all to just sit there and stare.
The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice. Let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light. Darkness tries to hide, trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Oh, we'll see how great, how great is our God. And now let's try the bridge, the name above all names, where we go right to the thing. You are the name above all names. You are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God.
beautiful. Good. So you see there how just making a real change in dynamics, in how much instruments are playing, it makes a real difference, doesn't it? Which brings us on to, you don't have to play all the time. Whoa.
Revolutionary statement right there.
Let that just drop into your mind. You don't have to play all the time. The braver you are in trusting your band, you know, as long as your band does what you tell them to do, the more creative you can be. So it might get to a verse, and Ben might think, do you know what? I want a lot of space in this verse. I'm not even going to play.
Which is terrifying for guitar players.
Who finds it hard giving up their strumming control on a guitar? My hand's up. Kathy's hand's up. That's good. Thanks for your honesty, Kathy. Okay, here we go. We're going to try it. We're going to do an intro, and then Ben is going to drop out on the guitar. And in all likelihood, it's going to fall to pieces, and the Holy Spirit will leave. But we'll try it just in case. Just in case.
All right. Would you like to count us in? So we'll do an intro and then we'll pull it back for the verse. Already I'm terrified.
The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty.
I'm free to clap.
Let all the earth rejoice.
All the earth, I'm kidding.
He wraps himself in light. Darkness tries to hide. It trembles at his voice.
Always taking ownership again. Here we go. Yeah. Beautiful.
And how great is our God. Sing with me, how great.
Perfect. Great.
Is our...
How was it? Be honest. Okay. Okay. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. We don't have to play all the time. We do not have to play all the time. Okay? Now, it doesn't just count for the acoustic guitar. It goes for everyone. I think, personally, that no one on a worship team needs to play the whole time for an entire set. Controversial, but it's what I believe. Because what happens, has anyone had an instrumentalist that just noodles? Is that a good word? Noodles all the time. Mm-hmm. Noodles, like wiggles about on a guitar, or... So let's just imagine we're having a nice outro, and Ben cannot stop playing his guitar, playing funky little licks. Here's what's happening. And the MC is just trying to bring it right down. And we're really focusing. And this is an extreme example, but I mean, really, you don't have to play all the time. Absolute caricature, admitted. That's an absolute caricature, but it happens, doesn't it? We need to, as musicians, take space. And so if these three are playing, and I feel like there's nothing for me to add, if there's nothing to add, don't add it. Because if you add too much, you're going to make a great sound less great, basically. We getting that? I feel like I'm trying to convey a heart message more than like an idea. This is very close to my heart. So, one more idea. How about we change the feel of the song? Ooh. Who's liking that? Now, if I'm feeling this to be quite an intense song, then maybe I'll change the last chorus to start with a minor chord. Yeah. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great. Let me just go into the normal chords. Create something different there, doesn't it? It does. We're going to go out of the bridge and into, so it'll be F sharp minor. Up to the G, up to the A, yeah. Okay. So, we'll have it up for the bridge and then down for this new chorus. Yeah. So last bit of the bridge. 1, 2, 3. And my heart will sing how great is our God. Then we're going down into a minor chorus. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great. There we go. How did that sound? Different? Did we like it? Did we like the change? You can change stuff so much just by changing a few chords. Here's another example. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Yeah, we all know that one. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. One day I played the wrong chord at the beginning, and I came up with, you give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Sounds completely different. And yet for me, that gave an extra 5 years to that song. It did. I enjoyed it a lot. And so playing with the chords is a really nice thing that you can do to just, I don't know, enhance the mood or the feel of the song. What else would you do, Ben, to change the song, feel-wise?
Well, someone mentioned earlier about rhythms. Rhythms is definitely something you can change. We're pretty standard in the rhythms that we tend to approach in church, but if you listen to any kind of Latin music or Israel Houghton or something like that, you'll feel grooves that it potentially takes a genius to play, but it's worth experimenting with. I'm not sure if I want to risk it right now. I'm trying to think of something. I'm trying to think of something we could do with that song.
Our God, sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great
Okay, we're all
is
joining
our
now.
God.
Bit of gospel.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll sing how great is our God.
It might not be the ideal song to do that with, but, you can think of different things. Or if you're like a real kind of rock fan, you might just want to kind of do it like straight out rock and roll. We could attempt that. It basically just means lots of cymbals and intensity.
Yeah.
Right? Let's try that.
Okay.
Do you want to count us in and go big?
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll sing how great is our God.
Thanks. Anything else?
Completely different feels, right?
What about jazz? Give us some jazz.
No, I'm not going to jazz versions. It's not going to work. Jeremy said the other day there were jazz churches, didn't he? I want to go to one. Another thing we could do, if we took it right down, Jonathan, can you give us some rim clicks? And Ben's not going to play full strumming. He's just going to do some muted, like, dun, 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 dun. And we're going to keep it like, we're just going to sit on this. And if you can do just like a... And I'm just going to do something... It's all very repetitive, so I'm going to add something repetitive. Going just like this. The splendor of the King, robed in majesty, all the earth rejoice. That felt really different, but you know what? If you carried that right through the chorus, you'd have this beautiful song that was like, that's got real meat to it. That's like, it's got some groove to it, right? It's like sitting in the pocket. When a drummer just locks in, it's like,
The important thing to realise is that most like funky, like soulful music or anything that's got that kind of emotion in it, often the drummer's just going. And we always think that the drummer's playing something really intense, but they're not. They're quite simple-minded people. And it's usually the bass player's job to make it a bit more intense. But unfortunately, this one's simple-minded too.
Good. So you saw there, we took that song and we just did it a whole bunch of different styles. And depending on what you were doing, you know, what occasion you wanted, what you were feeling for the song, you might have one aspect of the song you really wanted to go after, but it needs different approaches. And as musicians, we've got to keep it fresh as well. And it boosts it for the congregation sometimes when we mix things up a little bit. One last thing I can think of is looking at introductions to songs. Start as you mean to go on, right? A lot of the times we give it very little thought, but this is like the introduction to, you know, well, of course it's the introduction. It's like the appetizer before the main course. You wanna give something of good substance. So make something interesting. What can we think of right now?
Oh, for this song?
Yeah. We're just gonna do like a little demo for you. This is what we do in a band practice. We just sit here. I ask a question and everyone goes,
something interesting.
Should we get some Subway after this? Yeah. Okay. Back to this.
Honestly, for this song, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. What chords? First off, what chords? Someone here. Keyboard drone. Okay. What do you want? Do you want a pad or do you want an organ? Okay.
I quite like the chugging feel that we had before. You could chug along to that, couldn't you?
Yeah, okay. Now chords. What do we think about chords?
Well, the chords are the same the entire song, aren't they?
They are. So we've got an A, an E, an F sharp minor, and a D being used in this song. We don't have to use the chorus chords. We can put them in different orders. How about this?
What about...
We're going to go like this. So we've got an F sharp minor, E over G, A, F sharp minor, E, and a D. So let's try that. We'll have the organ in there. Okay. So we'll start off with our pad. This is nice. And then do you want to click us in? To our verse. In the splendor of the King, robed in majesty. So you see, they just put in. What do we put in? 2 minutes of effort, and we had something. Yeah. Can you do that? Can you? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Let's do the Your Love Is Everything intro and show how you could start it or how
Sure.
we chose to start it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Have any of you heard this song? Your love heals every disease. Your love fills my head. Yeah? So you could start it like... like that, which is just normal. Or we could do it where we say, all right, rather than just kind of us just starting with guitar, maybe we will start it out with guitar and a bit of a keyboard drone, and then everyone will come in after the first bit and it will make it real groovy, and let's try that. So let's try that. So come in after one phrase. We'll try again. It's all right. He hasn't done it before. I'm putting him on the spot. So we'll go through it once, and then everyone comes in together. 1, 2.
Dry and thirsty, Lord, and I'm crying out for more.
Anyway, that was one intro that we figured out.
Get the idea, yeah. Great. So I hope that gave you a few ideas. Use your instruments, make some fun intros, have fun making them as well. Have a good time, like experimenting, and when you get that chord sheet put in front of you, you just play what's in front of you, right? No! When you get the chord sheet put in front of you, you look at that chord sheet and you say, how am I going to interpret this? It's all about interpretation, okay? Yes. Yes, thank you, that person in the back. Brilliant. Any questions? Any questions? One more song. Sorry? A vocal harmony? Yeah, vocal harmony. Yeah, that's an important thing. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, let's just Ben, if you sing the melody of that. Here's something that happens sometimes on a stage.
Which song? Sorry.
How Great Is Our God?
Okay.
How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God.
What is happening? Both singing the melody. It happens. Okay. Let's try this then. 1, 2. You sing the melody.
I'm singing melody.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God.
So automatically, you know that harmony makes a nicer sound than just singing in unison. Yeah. Work with vocal effects. Like a guy and a girl singing together in unison can sound lovely. 2 guys singing together in unison can sound hideous, as it just did. And then when you're using your harmonies as well, choose where you want to sing. Choose where you want your placement to be. So you might say, during the verse, I don't want you to harmonize at all. Come in with a harmony in the chorus. Or it might be, I want the ends of lines. So, the splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, and trembles at his voice. That kind of thing.
You may think that telling your background singers what to do will offend them and make them feel insecure, but in my experience, if you say to them, hey, wouldn't this be a great idea to do it like this, they'll feel more secure because they know they're doing what you want them to do rather than just kind of fumbling around in the dark. So, be directional. Do you want to try what you were just saying?
Yeah, sure.
I'll sing harmony.
Okay. In the splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice, and He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. See, that added something nice, didn't it?
Ish.
Yes, ish. That was very nice, Ben. Very
Thanks.
nice.
It's good to practice your harmonies.
Good to practice your harmonies. Any other questions? Yes, yes. Sure. I think that's a very personal taste one. I personally wouldn't ever play the melody. I would only have the congregate have us singing the melody. Although I might hint at it.
There are times when you hear bands do a long introduction that's just chords, and you can see the look on the congregation's faces. What song is this? What song? And I wonder, sometimes it might be helpful to hint at that melody so that the congregation aren't thinking, what song is this? And they're thinking, oh, I'm about to sing How Great Our God Is. Let me think about that. And do you know what I mean? They're able to kind of get in the zone.
But if we play, for instance, another thing that you can do to help the congregation lock into what they're about to sing is play a riff that you have set for that song. So if I play... I will going to come in with the chorus in 3, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you got it. You got it. Why did you get it? If I just played this. You're still left wondering. But so yeah, like you were saying, having something which catches like, oh, I know what it is. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And I would even, when you're teaching a new song, like sing the chorus with them, break it down, sing it with them, and then go into it again. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Yes. Speak really slowly to them. Yeah, generally.
The question was, how do you speak to a bass player and drummer? And he's absolutely right that, you know, they really don't. They're not exactly human beings.
But they do. They do love God, though, don't they? So.
They do love God in a very simple love way.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
The way you can tell if your stage, the way you can tell if your stage is balanced or not, you don't need a spirit level. You just need to look and make sure the dribble is coming out the middle of the drummer's mouth, not either side. So.
But it's a genuine question. Sorry, guys, I don't mean it at all. They're actually very bright young men and single. There's a few ways that you can really help. Like, basically, try and remember these kind of terms. We use things like saying 4 on the floor. And you've probably heard that before. And what it basically means is there's one drum that's on the floor, and it's the kick drum. And that means every one of those 4 beats hit that drum. So it goes boom, 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 boom. That means 4 on the floor. But you can just say, just give me the kick, like just straight, or 4 on the floor, that kind of thing. And the same kind of thing on the bass would be called pedal bass, if I'm not wrong. Yeah? Pedal bass is where you just go.
Yeah, a pedal, yeah.
So if you're like, I'm just looking for that kind of groove. The other thing I do a lot, which I'm not sure the drummers like, but I do go, what I'm really looking for is... So just do that and you'll be fine, yeah.
And you can say to them as well, if they play something, if you're not sure what to do, ask them to make a change. Say, what can you do to completely change that? So if a drummer is playing...
What can you do to completely change what you just did?
If a drummer is going, boom, boom, jang, boom, 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 jang, and you're like, can you try doing that something different? And they go... And they'll do something completely different because you've said, can you play something really different? And you can say, I like number one more, but can you do it a little bit stronger? Or descriptive words work with drummers.
Yeah, and intensity is a really good word. You can just say less intense or more intense. And it also works to say hit less things and hit more things. Because... seriously, sometimes you'll be trying to go for quite an empty sound, and the drummer might be going... And if you say, hit less things, they might go...
So, Jonathan, can you play... I want you to play... I'm going to play the chords for How Great Is Our God, and I want you to do like a very full, like... Which is nice, but say we had everyone else in, that would be like too much. So I'd say, can you play half of that? My words to him were, can you play half of that? And it worked fine, right? So just saying, too much or too little, but in a very nice way, because they're lovely, intelligent people.
Yeah, another good thing, Ian just pointed this out to me, is with a bass player you should say short notes and long notes. If you want them to, if we're playing that song, he can either hit that note and let it hang, or he can be going... And he's like boom, 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 boom. And it totally changes the feel. So short notes, long notes. Yeah, use just expressionate language.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Does that help?
Yeah.
Sure? Are you sure?
Also, here's another good one. People often say things like, ooh, play like a war beat. The thing is, with a war beat, it depends what army you're from. If you're in like a British army, it's like a snare roll. Can you give me a snare? Like, right? That's like British Civil War kind of army. But maybe what you meant is more of like an African war kind of tom beat, which would be like on the toms, like. I mean more like. You know what I'm saying? So just use expressionate language and just kind of try and describe what it is you're saying, and don't be afraid to keep changing it. You won't offend them too much, and you can always say, hasn't he been amazing? And then they get a big smile and they feel fine.
Is there any other questions? Great. Well, go back to your worship teams and make some really fun stuff. Because once you make song arrangements that you're happy with and that you know, you'll forget about the arrangements. You'll play them like second nature, and you'll be able to focus on God and enjoy it. You really will. You'll be able to just lock into it, fix your eyes firmly on Him, and have a good time doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Depends. I guess it depends what it is. I think this kind of stuff. Sorry?
Just repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. You were saying when you're going around to different campuses or different churches, is it worth talking to pastors about what changes you're going to do? I would say if it's like a slight musical change like we've been doing today, I don't think it really matters. But if if you've prepared a very intense, rocky thing, and people say, actually, we meet in an old people's home, and actually all our congregants are 90 and loud noises hurt their ears, then at that point you would say, drummer, you're now a singer, electric guitarist, you're now a singer, bassist, you're now a singer, acoustic guitarist, you're now going to pick everything, and off we go. But yeah.
Just before we finish up, let me just say, these guys had no preparation, and I think they did an incredible job. So let's just genuinely give them a round of applause.
Great. We will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock.